Alright, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Michigan Hardcore Boy. Today, I'm going to tell you something that nobody is talking about, and I think could be the answer to this mystery and I think I may have just solved it. Well, at least have a solution to what it could be. So let's jump right into it. So, I'm going to put up two pictures. The Wendigo will be on the left, and the not deer will be on the right. So, as you can see, they're first off, it's pretty interesting looking creatures, but so I'm gonna jump right into the story and just you'll kind of understand where this all fits together. So there's a story about a knot deer. I watched a video on it today, and I will put the link in the description of the video. So it is basically, it was a story about a guy who went hunting in northern Michigan area with going with his dad, and he had been up there taking pictures all throughout the woods, for like a long time before deer season, because he really wanted to get the biggest buck out of the group. So he did that, and he was seeing lots of deer, lots of nice big bucks, pretty often, just a lot of deer up there. So he was happy with that. When he went up there, he didn't see any deer in any places where he was seeing deer on trail cameras. He didn't see any deer anywhere. So he walked around, didn't see anything. Until there's one part of the woods, he saw this brown object, and he recognized it as a deer. He said, but then he saw it was dead. So he walked over to it, and he saw it had antler marks in it, and it had some biting in its neck, but it was like, she was like, that's not very normal, because if it was a wolf, probably would have eaten the whole thing. Same thing with a coyote, or if it was like, a big cat, it would be up in a tree or ripped to shreds. So, this was pretty unusual. So he didn't really know what it was, but he just kind of kept looking for deer, and he saw another deer, exact same way as that other deer. So that was pretty unusual. He really didn't know what was happening. But then all around there, he was in this like marshy, muddy area. He saw this massive track, like twice the size of a regular deer track, but it was still a deer track. So he was super excited and was like, this thing, whatever deer this thing is massive. So he set up a little brush blind. Sure enough, a little bit later, a massive deer that he described it as like, had antlers like an elk. It was like the size of a small moose. So he was like, okay, this thing is like the state record. So he shot it. Perfect shot, right behind the shoulder, broadside, everything was perfect. He used an 180 grain 30-06 bullet. It's not gonna live. So it dropped right there, and he was like, okay, I just shot the state record, let's go. He walked over to it, and it got back up. It looked right at him, and then he shot it again, same spot, right behind the shoulder, dropped it. He was like, alright, I got this. It can't survive this. Well, as it got closer, he was like 5 or 6 yards away. It dragged us up into the bushes. He was like, okay, that's really weird, but I'll go get the truck. This thing's, it's not going to be able to, go any further. So he got the truck, came back, and there was like all this, after, I don't want to get like demonetized or anything, but like all the stuff that comes out of a deer, after you shoot it, just all over the place. It was like big pools of it, and he was like, all right, so this thing's dead. He tracked it and could not find it. He was like, he had no clue what was happening. Really not happy about that, but so basically he sat back up and just hoped that maybe it would come back out. So it did. It came back out, and this time, well, actually, he didn't see it yet. There was a 10-pointer, and it was running like there was something chasing it. So he figured, all right, maybe there's a deer. That same deer that he already shot twice, running after the 10-pointer, aggressively came up to it, and it locked antlers, and it basically threw it on the ground and bit its neck, and that 10-pointer was done. So he was like super weird, didn't know what this deer was doing, because deer are herbivores and don't usually do stuff like that. Like, actually, they never do stuff like that. So this guy basically like was just super surprised by this, and so he, then this deer like looked right up at him, and he shot a shot like underneath it, trying to scare it, and this deer basically like, it was just a whole big thing. It was like kind of charged at him, but it didn't charge at him, but like looked at him. He shot underneath it, and it ran into the bushes, and he got out of there and never went hunting in that area again. So, I mean, that's kind of, so when I heard that story, I was like, all right, what is this? So I did some research about, so this guy called it a knot deer, and I did some research, and there's a lot of stuff on knot deer. They all talk about, and this is where you'll probably see that correlation between the Wendigo and the knot deer. They talked about elk antlers, standing on 2 feet, being a carnivore, and being like a predator with the eyes in the front, and just looking so weird, out of the ordinary, not normal. So, when I saw that, and so that was pretty surprising to me. I didn't really, like, so I was like, what is this thing, and I saw that, and when I remember the Wendigo, I was like, wow, there's such a big correlation between these two, and they just look so similar, but nobody was talking about these two creatures. That's why I was super surprised, and I was like, whoa, did nobody realize this, or whatever? So, I looked up what the Wendigo means, and it basically meant, like, cannibal, or, like, evil spirit, and so, if you don't know the Wendigo, something the Algonquin Native Americans told the tale of basically eating animals and being just this, like, creature of the woods. Well, the Algonquins lived all throughout Michigan and northern Michigan and Canada, right where that guy was deer hunting in that area. So I was like, so personally, I think that the knot deer and the Wendigo, I think they're the same creature, and I think that like this could be the answer to the mystery. They could be the same creature. I'm not really sure, but I think this is a good solution to it. So, if you have any more information about these things, you can leave a comment. And so, yeah, I just think that's really cool and something that I figured I should share. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.